Here we are.
What's that?
Back again. What you got? What are you eating? What is that?
Maybe that was yours.
That's mine?
Yeah.
Is that my Cliff Bar?
Yeah, maybe that was yours.
Maybe that was mine. How'd you get it?
Yeah, Auntie gave it to me.
Auntie gave it to you.
Yeah.
See, I'm learning the language. Auntie gave it to you. Is it good? Do you want a pillow to sit on? You want to sit higher?
No.
You want to sit higher?
No.
No, you're good?
Yeah.
All right. So, did you have fun here?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Are you ready to go home?
No.
No? No.
I fall down.
So,
Hey,
yeah.
I go get that back up here.
All right. Spotted that $2 again. I dropped it. What does this mean? What does this mean when the child dives for the money? Okay, thank you. You coming back?
Yeah.
All right. Climb up. Climb up. Okay, so. Hey. I'm talking to the people here. You're on camera. So what do you like better? Do you like hunting better or do you like fishing better?
I like fishing better.
You like fishing?
I like fishing and hunting better.
Oh. Do you remember when we caught the fish last year?
Well, yeah.
On the river?
Yeah.
Was that fun?
Yeah.
How big was the fish?
Yeah. Big.
How big?
Real big.
It was pretty big?
Yeah.
How many bears did you see
Only one.
that day? Remember we saw it when we were in the boat and we saw the bear?
Yeah. Only one.
Only one.
Yeah.
That's fun though, huh?
Because I see two of them and all the way over there, and I see one over here.
That's right, two. You did see two. I can't believe the memory that you have. So he was over here last year. That would have been September. And remember, we floated down the river once. And he remembered where his fishing rod was here. He remembered where the Zodiac was. He remembered everything, right?
Yeah.
That means you had a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we went grizzly bear hunting this year. We had a fun video.
Yeah.
When you were camping.
Yeah.
Nobody can see you. Look. You've gone out of the camera. Look. See? You see yourself up there?
Yeah.
Where are you?
I see this. Look at my dad.
Okay, hold on a minute.
Look at my
I
dad.
mean, you're the co-host. You gotta be on the camera too. So are you gonna come back and see us again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope so. I had lots of fun. Did you go on a quad ride?
Yeah.
What else did you do?
I see a bear.
Seen a bear.
I go hunting.
You like hunting?
Yeah.
Do you like eating steak? Do you like the elk steaks? Remember Auntie made up some delicious elk steaks, huh?
What is that?
Hmm?
What is that?
That's the charge cable for the laptop. So, what do you want to do now? Do you want to hear me listen? You want to hear me read some emails from people?
Where?
You want to hear a story?
Yeah.
Not a story, but let's see what we got in here. Shall we?
Yeah.
As long as we can last.
Where?
All right, what do we got? Listen to this. Are you listening? Yeah? You ready?
What is that?
This is an email from a friend of mine who's a police officer. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
This email is titled Loud Booms in the Sky.
Wow.
Steve Cujo here. Do you know, have a theory, or can you ask the people what the loud booms are that are being heard all over the country?
What is that noise?
I don't know. People started hearing them at about 2020, the year 2020, but interest has died off. At work in the Hollywood Hills, just north of downtown LA, I hear them constantly. Some nights, not so much, but tonight it's bad. Definitely not fireworks, no flash, just a mix of very loud booms and smaller pops. Nobody has an explanation. And it's happening all over the country, Cujo. Really? That's new to me, man. But shared, right? We'll see if anybody else wants to chime in. I wonder if I could ask Richard, our other retired police officer, because he's in Southern California.
Yeah.
I haven't heard any booms. There was a whole pile of loud noises being heard in Eastern Canada a while back, for sure. But I'm not But I'm not familiar myself. But I'm sure if this is prevalent as you say, somebody else is going to have something to say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yay.
You'd think you'd be able to track those sounds down, though. You would think. Maybe, possibly, right? Okay, Chippy. Hope nobody minds you being a clown here. I don't. Not much bugs me. Except for background sound that I can't control. Now, listen to this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This is titled Nebraska Encounters. Shalom to you, Steve, and to all. I've shared before about my, quote, predator, quote, incident in What are you, a chimp? You're a chimpanzee. Okay, listen to this. Are you listening?
Yeah.
Can you hear this? Well, we might have to shut this down because you know where this is going, right? It ain't gonna stop. Alright, I'll have to do this later by myself. You're too loud.
No.
Yeah, we gotta go now. Are you gonna be quiet and listen? You wanna do something else?
Yeah.
What? What? What are we doing? Am I reading? Alright, I'm gonna try one more time.
No.
If the chimpanzee cuts loose, that's it. I'll have to finish this alone. Alright? Gonna name you Cheetah, not Chippy. Clifford Stevens is my name, and you have complete permission to share my name in all locations. I went to work on a farm for an amazing couple of ladies in Pleasant Dale, Nebraska, just about 5 minutes west of Lincoln, Nebraska. They had about 40 acres, but only about 4 acres were mowed around the property, and a very beautiful path mowed around these.
Hey, I go come here. So, hey, I go come and I go bring this at auntie, okay?
You what?
I go bring this at auntie. I eat a bite. Let me go.
I'll be back later. Alright. Another day. Drizzling. Another drizzly day. I'm not complaining. Not complaining. Get that hay growing. Now, quite the conversation yesterday, wasn't it? Quite the conversation yesterday. My inbox is absolutely jammed with people cautioning, telling me what's up, telling me these facts and those facts when it comes to possibility of human beings killing these whoever it is living out in the woods that hundreds of thousands of us have seen. Right? But you know what? The frustrating part for me is not one person yet has told me they have spoken to or met in person, has a brother, uncle, whatever, that's been a member of these so-called kill teams, right? Not one. And you know how many people have contacted me in the past few years. Tens of thousands, right? It's crazy. Thousands and thousands of people. There's a lot of mistrust out there today amongst all of us, big time. Probably more than ever, right? Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's actually going the other way around. I don't know. Who knows? I don't want to get into that department, but with the shit show going on the planet. But anyway, I was talking to somebody last evening who I trust, and I trust to have a lot of knowledge in this topic. And I was saying, just as a conversation side, not calling anybody out, but I'm just saying common sense tells me, here in British Columbia, I don't think it's any secret. It's easy to figure out that I have spent the majority of my life in the mountains and the wilds of British Columbia, not to mention other places outside of British Columbia, from one end of the province to the other end, from side to side. On the ocean, remote coast, the remote coast of BC, ocean side, rivers, the northwestern corner of BC surrounded by Alaska and the Yukon. Been all through those mountains numerous times. Northern BC, all the Rockies. The circle of people who I associated with most of my life have done the same thing, and a lot of my friends and contacts have been spread out all over British Columbia, more rural. I don't know too many people in the cities. And trappers, hunters, hunting guides, conservation officers, oil patch workers, loggers, right? You know, the typical lineup. Hikers down here in southern BC, the coastal mountains, hikers, mountain bikers, snowmobilers. I mean, we have the ground covered year round by so many people. But what else am I going to point out is all of these areas are absolutely frequented year round by these people that a lot of people think are fabled, made up fairy tales, but they're not. So when you've got that much traffic, human traffic, I mean, right in the middle of where these people are being seen and heard and smelled year round, and not one person ever has mentioned to me that they saw a weird helicopter in the night. Actually, we've had a helicopter in the night here, but who knows what that was about. But we're talking to the wilds, you know, like you expect a helicopter to be around here. You expect a plane to be around here. There's an airport that way, I don't know, 4 miles, 5 miles or something. But not in the mountains and in the wilds. I mean, we've got heli skiing helicopters in the coastal mountains. Got helicopters flying out broken snowmobiles in the wintertime all the time. But out of all those contacts I've had all my life, not one person has ever come to me and said, yeah, we saw this group of armed men. Daylight or nighttime, doesn't matter, because the people who I mentioned, they're in the mountains at nighttime, right? You got tourist skiers, you got cabins all over coastal British Columbia. Friends of mine who have built these cabins, seen these things outside the cabin, broad daylight. And all these friends of mine who are in the mountains year-round, day and night, not one has ever come across a group of suspicious individuals who are armed to the teeth or flying something, whatever, ever. Not once. Does that mean it's not happening? Obviously not, right? Then I would sound just like that dimwit who says, "Oh, I've been working in the bush for 50 years. I've never seen a Sasquatch, so it doesn't exist." I'm not one of those. That's not what I'm saying about these, quote, kill team, end quote, groups. So if this shit's going down, it must be going down predominantly south of the border or another continent. I don't know. And I say if, I don't know, because even the majority of my American friends and contacts who my gut says are legitimate, they're pretty adamant that these kill teams and there are people killing these beings. They're pretty adamant about it. But still nobody can tell me even what they look like or why. You know what I mean? But for me, I'd imagine the majority are picking up what I'm putting down when I say that if this is going down, and if we can find out just one answer, one legitimate, honest answer, which would be why, that will probably crack open and answer some pretty heavy, hefty questions for human beings. Right? Think about that one. Think about it. That if this is going down and the question of why gets answered, that'll probably basically make a lot of us just sheath our sword and walk away. Done deal. Done. Did it. That and other mysteries are solved. We did it. And then carry on from there. Whichever direction you may be pulled to go. But it's frustrating, right? But I feel anxious. I feel an anxiousness in a way. My gut's not letting me slow down on this question. Don't know why, but I'm following my gut and I'm going to pursue it. I got a lot of people emailing me and cautioning me, saying these dark bastards are going to come and get me. Oh, well, I guess if they do, at least we can confirm that this shit's going down then maybe, right? And then somebody else can pick up the torch and start running with it. I don't know, whatever. I'm not scared, though. My gut's not telling me to slow down. My gut never tells me to be nervous or scared of humans, ever. And again, I'm not scared of death either, though, right? And that makes a big difference in life. It makes a huge difference in life, I've found, is when you are authentically not scared of death, which I am not. Been there. Been there. I've been right on the brink. And I don't know if anybody saw the video, but I was actually, when it was getting to the point that I was actually in my mind thinking, am I going to be dead in the morning? Am I going to make it till supper time tomorrow? I wonder what my last meal is going to be. I wonder where I'm going. This is going to be wild. Wow, this is going to be a crazy ride. I'm actually going to die. This is going to be the most craziest experience of all of them. Okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And I was actually getting jacked up for it. So there you go. Bring it. Bring it when it's time. I guess it's not time yet. I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing. I know that. Anyway, the medium thing. You know, my gut's hesitant on talking to a medium when it comes to my personal ride and my journey. My gut is making me very hesitant and a bit of an alarm goes off. I'm listening to it. Lots of people. We're talking hundreds of people email me all the time telling me what I should or shouldn't be doing or be scared of doing this or cautious of doing that, man. You don't know what you're stepping into. Thanks for the heads up. But just so you all know, my gut knows more than me. My gut knows more than you. And my gut directs me. So, yeah. I'm hesitant when it comes to me speaking to some kind of a medium. So far. But I'm talking other people who have spoken to them 100%. Now, what do we got? What do we got? We're going to keep hearing from everyone, that's for sure. In the meantime, you got to admit, I don't know, but I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, I've gone so far ahead in this journey so far. I got a light right there. It's bright. Hold on a second. All right, that's a little more comfy. Yeah, switched up to this side. Me and Chippy are sitting here. Check out the painting. I took that grizzly hide off the wall there and finally found a place for that painting I bought years ago at a conservation banquet. Bought it on an auction. It's like number 4 out of 100 or something. But it's a real cool picture for all you outdoor enthusiasts, especially moose hunters. They caught all the colors perfectly in that painting. Love it. Haven't had it on the wall for a long time. Now this is titled White Sasquatch. It's maybe a little older, I'm not sure. Hello, Stephen. Thanks for the great job you're doing with giving us all a safe place to share our experiences. I have been a follower since the beginning. And it's coffee and Steve first thing every morning. I shared several experiences with you in the past, and this letter is a follow-up on one I think may have gotten lost in the fog of the internet. Several years back, actually just before you left on your first trip to Thailand, your First Nation lady friend asked you to remind her to tell you about the White Sasquatch. Not sure if you ever mentioned that again. Yeah, so they have seen that one on the beach near their original community a few times. And yeah. Anyway, I sent you the attached picture I'm attaching here today, as there have been several instances lately mentioning White Sasquatch. And I thought your viewers might find this interesting. This photo was taken just after I had a small herd of cow/calf elk pass by me. I took several random photos of the forest, as this is an amazing spot. It was several months later when I decided to zoom these pictures to see if I might have picked up an elk in the background when I spotted this oddity. I'm not sure what it is, but I did go back to this spot and try to do a comparison photo, but could not locate that spot. My wife and I have had a number of experiences in this spot, and while I was searching for the site of this photo, she was back in camp when something started smashing a piece of wood against a tree. She got up and walked to the edge of the road and started telling me to knock it off, as figured I was messing with her. She said I'd broken my stick and wasn't fooling her. However, when she turned to head back to her chair, she sees me walking back on the road. Whatever smacked that tree is about 40 feet from her in a swamp. Take a look at the center of this photo. Move 2 first trees to the right and zoom in. You should spot a face, etc. P.S. The same area I took the picture of a track in the patch of sand with my boot next to it that I sent you a few years back that has been viewed a lot. Also been whooped at, hit with an awful stench, and heard heavy bipedal footsteps. It is what it is. Keep up the much appreciated work you do. Regards, Ken Salmon, a fellow hunter and fisherman. All right, man. There you go. And there is an odd shape in the woods for sure. Yeah, I don't think it's obviously this is something odd back there, isn't it? This sort of thing is never going to stop. It's seeing and hearing is never going to stop. That's all there is to it. Appreciate you sending that in. I don't know what you're looking for. You know, a lot of people right now, there's a lot of people going out in the woods, banging on trees, possibly, whooping, trying to get a reply, but I wonder what people are actually seriously after when they're doing this these days. And I'm not talking to you. I'm not saying you just did that at all. But my brain just kind of went over to, at this stage of the game with the knowledge we've gathered through all the people. It almost to the point, if you have been learning from everyone here and listening to everyone, it's like, well, why even bother at this stage of the game? Why even bother to go in the woods and try to bang on a tree or set a trail camera at this stage of the game? Seriously? If you're listening to all the people, right? At this stage of the game. I mean, shit, man. We're way, way ahead now. I am anyway, for myself. It's all about the why now. It's not the, is it real? Do we need proof? Allegedly, there's a lot of the so-called Sasquatch sightings around this area. Who gives a shit? It's done. It's real. Moving forward. I would like to encourage every single human being that accepts this as fact to search for the whys. Why? Why are children not being taught about this openly? Why is our communities not being taught about this openly? And why are allegedly groups killing these beings? Why? Those are some huge questions that need answering. And I think the answers, if they come honestly, are going to change a lot for humanity. Obviously. I know I'm babbling, but my brain's obviously scrambling. This week, this is titled My Homelands. Guilford Island, King Com Inlet, Wakeman Sound. All right, here we go. Right in the backyard and right in the heart of it. Excuse me. Steve, I am from King Com Inlet. No shit. Wild, wicked place to be from. We are from 4 tribes. Guildford, Hopetown, Wakeman, Sound, then King Com Inlet. You can use my name, of course. Ryan Dawson. All right, man. Thanks for coming forward, Ryan. I grew up all my life on the homelands, loved hunting and fishing. I asked my cousin what year it was when he had an experience, and he said, '07 in King Com, where we were hunting ducks on Holiday's Field. We saw 3 grizzlies. He said, we'll pass them on the fence line, so we did. There's a shit pile of grizzlies, and there are big ones. We get to the back of the trees and blackberry bushes. We come to a clearing, and we smell this dead whatever it was. Then we hear this little break. So, We took out our cheap shells and threw in the slugs and SSGs. That's buckshot for all who aren't familiar. Big steel pellets. We looked through the area, didn't find nothing. But like 10 minutes later, we heard a big, huge tree crash back at the old Holidays house area. My cousin said, "What the F was that?" I said, "I don't effing know." Then we left back to the boat and went home. But I recently asked if he remembers that, and he said, "Do you remember seeing it?" I was like, "No, I didn't." He said, "Yeah, it was right by a tree." Steve, I didn't see it, but he did. Speed up around winter of '09, I believe. I was working a night shift at the health center. Lots of snow on the ground, and this is in King Kong. I just finished cleaning the health center. I go out the door and I could hear whistles, which sounds like our Madzis in our dances in the big house. Madzis, Madzis. Long and slow. So I ran to the next door where my grandma was waiting for me at the school because she liked to get things ready for the next day. I ran up the ramp, banged on the window to get her attention. And she came out and I said, "Listen." And we could still hear them. One was way down at the end of the village. The next was down at the church beach and one up on the north end of the village. The next night it happened again. This night was a cold, snowy, clear, full moon night. I quickly jumped in the gator, bombed on my mom's, grabbed my brother. We went up north of the village a bit, went down the beach, and cruised by the beach water. I killed the lights before the church beach and killed the engine. I told my bro it was around here. Then some kind of weird sound came out. I turned the gator on, then bombed all the way up to where we came down. Bombed down to my ma's. My bro jumped out and ran upstairs, and I did the same. Was to get home and run upstairs. This is when I got into Sasquatch. But brothers were saying 2 nights before that they were hearing whistles. Then this one night, a bunch of us went pit lamping. We went across the river, went for a drive. Mind you, this was the same time all this was going down. But we drove the logging road, came back to the landing where the boat was. We all took out our guns, made sure they were empty. We walked down to the bank where the boat was, then bang, bang, bang on the truck. We were like, what the F? So we chambered up, got on the boat. I tried to start the motor, but it wouldn't start. The other guys had the guns pointing up on the bank just in case. But we had to paddle across while I kept trying to start the damn thing. The next day we went to see our uncle, tell him about the motor, and he said it started up fine. And he was the hydro guy. End of email. Wow, what a frickin' awesome place to grow up, Ryan. Right up my alley. Now, you didn't mention talking to too many other people in your community about this topic. You should give it a go. I'm guaranteed, obviously, you're going to hear you're going to get a bunch of feedback, without a doubt. I know exactly where you are. Surprised you don't see them every day around there. You know, I had another guy a long time ago emailed in, helicopter pilot. No, this guy was a logger that he said, and they were logging way up in there somewhere, heli logging. And the heli pilot said he saw this thing standing on the side of the mountain, and he swears it was 20 feet tall. Sounds a little outrageous, doesn't it? These days, who knows? But that one stuck out to me. I don't know why. Probably because it was so close to where I was living as well. I mean, let's face it, that's not that far away from the head of the Pemberton Valley, right? As well as not very far away from where that Albert Ostman got took and dragged up into the mountains. Appreciate you sending that in. Hey, you got a huge blacktails. Send me some pictures. I love seeing them from around there. But maybe one day you just ask sincerely around your community what everybody knows. And if it's worthy, if you think it's worthy, send it my way, man. I want to hear about it for sure, especially around there. I'd love to hear your feedback that you come across. And especially from your elders. Ask them what they think about communicating with these people. Please. I think I already know the answer, though. Now, this next one. Okay, don't even know what that's about. It's definitely not. That was a weird email. Shouldn't even been in there. What do we got? What do we got to keep? I'm not finding them. Hold on. Here we go. What's this? This is titled My Experience After My Sighting. Oh, all right. Here we go. Excuse me. My name is Mark. I'm the person who shared my experience at Fall River Reservoir, Kansas. I shared that I have not been fishing since that experience. This is why. After I returned home 3 or 4 days later, I was awakened to a something in my bedroom. I was facing the wall sleeping. When it woke me up, it told me not to turn over to face it. He was there to tell me to never go back to the Fall River Reservoir over by the tree again. I knew who it was. It was the Sasquatch I'd seen at Fall River. Somehow he got in my house without unlocking a door or setting off my security alarm. He's been back every 3 to 6 months. I knew was there. I could hear him breathing and moving around. This is what he said to me. He was mind speaking to me that down by the tree there was things that I could not see that would harm me. I started asking questions like, why me? He said, I'm a good human. He came by again on May 23rd, and he knows about you too, Steve. That is what he told me to tell you. The sky people and the human entities are the ones that are out killing them. I don't know if he's lying to me, but he also told me that they are here to protect good humans from what is coming. That there is a world war coming against the entity and other things like the sky people. None of this made any sense to me before you spoke on Sunday. And oh yes, Steve, I do go fishing and I'm not scared of them anymore. He has answered a lot of questions I have had asked. And yes, there's many things he will not tell me. If you have questions for him, I can ask him. I do not know when he will be by again, but he said he will be seeing me soon. You have my email too. Send me your questions. God bless. Keep the good close and stay away from the bad. Some will think I'm crazy. I'm not. But wow, what I have learned in the last 3 years. There's a holy shitter. All right, ma'am. It's not the first time. I've been hearing this a lot lately. I don't know why, but a lot of people from around North America have told me flat out they know what's going down here with me. Do I believe that is real? The more I hear it, the more I'm leaning to that being quite the possibility, but more, especially after talking to Darren. Does it upset me or create alarm for me? Not at all. Not at all. But anyway, back to the email. The question. Obviously, you guys were all sitting at the same coffee table, right? We're all sitting here together. I don't know this guy. You guys don't know him. But 99.9% of us haven't met each other either way, right? So, now, what are you going to ask? Throw down the community. The comment section. Throw down your questions. Throw down some real good questions that you may have if you were to be able to have them answered. Throw them down in the comment section. So I'm sitting here contemplating right now because I'm thinking, okay, let's just say this is legitimate. What do you want me to ask them for real? Whew. It's hard to ask because 5,000 questions come up all at the same time, and you got to try to sift through them and try to figure out which ones you would actually really want to have answered right away. Obviously, I would want to know, who are they scared of? When it comes to human beings, who are you scared of and why? And I mean specifically, not generally. I mean who? As in, who are they? What town? If it's a town, what do they look like? What's their names? What do they drive? What do they fly? Where are they from? Who are you scared of and why? Specifically, not generally. Well, we're always going to get that question answered. Well, you got to be scared of the bad humans a lot more than anything else. I know that. We've got that a billion times. Which humans? Whose payroll are they on? Where do they originate from? Where are their offices? What's the closest office to me where potentially a phone number would be called to summons these people in the woods? Where is that place? Who are these people? That's what I want to know right now. If that question could be answered for me, not only who are they, but why? Why are you scared? Why are you so scared? Why do you act so scared? Why are you so adamant about the secrecy of you from us? Yet, you still make yourself available to literally hundreds of thousands of human beings around the globe sporadically. Why? What's up? Why are you so nervous and why are you so scared? Right? I don't think they're scared there. Like I said before, the difference is, all right, as an example, I'm going through the forest right here in the middle of the night by myself. All of a sudden I see a glow. And I see the glow. Oh, it's a small campfire. Oh, there's 4 8 to 12 foot tall, 500 to 800 pound beings sitting around that fire in the dark in the forest right there at a camp. I think I'm going to sneak in there and start throwing rocks at them. Or maybe I'm going to sneak up to like 20 feet from them and beat on a tree. Said no human ever, right? No way. But for someone to do that, that is such an example of absolute confidence and not scared of shit, right? But that's what these beings do with us all the time. Human beings sitting around a campfire. They sneak in and start pelting you with rocks and pine cones, beating on a tree, even yelling. That's not being scared of us, right? It's so confusing. So you got the confidence to do that, yet somebody gets their eyeballs on you. You act like it's a laser that's going to cut you in half and you can't get away from that human's eyesight fast enough. What a contradiction, right? So, I know I'm babbling, but holy shit, you guys. It's almost like we're getting to an exciting stage of the game for me. Let's see what happens, man. Make sure you email me back. I appreciate you coming forward. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be going, who's this kook? But I'm not. I'm not. So, if you can get some kind of an answer for those questions for me, be forever in your debt. Excuse me. Who's next? All right, this is titled Childhood Experience. Maybe. Kinda. All right. Hey, Steve, I was born in 75. All through the 80s, my family used to go visit friends of my parents up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. They lived near Witch Lake, close to a little town called Republic, Michigan. This happened when I was young as 6, no older than 8. I was quite a bit younger than my brothers, 5 and 7 years older. I spent most of my childhood tagging along while the adults and older children decided what we would do. On one of these semi-regular trips to the UP, I decided to wander off alone into the woods. I recall being mad about being ignored. I think I had some stupid idea that it would be an adventure to go get lost in the woods. It was early winter. There were a few inches of snow covering the ground. The lakes were frozen over, and the ice was thick enough to safely walk on. I wandered/walked until I got tired, and I felt like I was really out there. Likely only a mile or two, given that I was a little kid. At some point, I got a little tired and started to regret my decision. I looked around and did the little kid emotional freak out. I decided I really was lost, and I didn't like it. I wanted someone to come and fix things for me. So I started shouting, "Help, I'm lost." Something like that. And after a little bit of shouting and crying, I could hear someone off in the distance responding. It sounded like several voices shouting the same thing together to make themselves louder. Couldn't actually make out any of the words, but I got the distinct impression that it was a group of young females. And at the time I didn't question it, but I remember having this really detailed picture of what was going on in my head. I guess it could have been my imagination, but I wasn't aware that I was imagining anything. It also seems odd to me that I would have been imagining anything in the middle of a juvenile spaz-out panic. It seems in my memory like I had a lot of details that I didn't have any way of knowing. After a short, frustrating period of trying to communicate with these voices in the distance, something happened. A feeling of almost tangible calm came over me. It was almost like a voice was talking to me in my head, but I didn't hear any actual English words. If you put it in words, it would be something like, "You're not lost, you're just freaking out. Look at your footprints. Just follow your footprints and they'll take you right back to where you came from." So I did. I know this could just as easily be a nothing burger. Memory is notoriously unreliable, and kids that young are goofy, especially to me. There's nothing there that can't be easily explained away without going to anything supernatural or extraordinary. There aren't any important puzzle pieces here, but maybe it's okay to collect the pieces that just show sky or background too. Can't hurt. My guts tell me there's a strong likelihood that I had just the subtlest brush with these forest people back then. There's no way to know for sure, and it doesn't matter in the least. Like you're fond of saying, take from what you will or leave it. Just one man's recollection. Keep on keeping on. There you go. Obviously, it has a big impact on you if you held that memory clear as day all these years, right? But there's a lot of people who have, and I do absolutely believe it, there's a lot of people who have somebody taking care of them. I know I do. I just don't know who it is yet, without a doubt. So do we automatically think it's a hair-covered upright being? Some will, some won't. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway. Alright, let's keep going. I'm going to stop myself from babbling. My brain's ripping these days. My brain is a frickin' tornado. What do we got here? Looks like a long one. What's it about? Okay, so far it's about the jab. Okay, I get it. Got it. Another topic. Save that for another possible time or at my other channel. But I will read over it thoroughly, shortly. What's this one? Okay, all I saw was the word paralleled. So that tells me green light. Here we go. This is titled Knowledge. Hey Steve, it's Greg D. Turt again. First, I think I need to start this off from the beginning. There's a lot to unpack. I have memories of these beings back in the day in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And they've been speaking to me. They would always tell me, like a little punctuation missing. Sorry, you guys. They would always tell me, good morning. And how are you? Nice to see you again. And you're always welcome here. And what I'm going to tell you about the mind speak and why nobody sees these things hardly at all, and why you can't get a picture or video, is because they can read your mind. They know your intent. They know you're there, and they know why you're there. And I know this because I wasn't a very toxic relationship. Back when I lived up in this area for 7 years, I did a lot of hiking because I wasn't happy at home. And when I got out, there was, I'm quite sure, this was a female that spoke to me the most. And I remember her telling me, I know what you're going through and it's going to be better soon. We think you're a very nice person and you're always welcome back here. I believe this is a female that must have tagged me. And they seem to be protecting me if you read the other stories that I sent you that year back in 91 when I was paralleled, punctuation, every day, and everybody thought that was a bunch of bullshit. They don't do that. Well, yes, they do. At least they did to me. They did. And on that final day when I told you I had the one screaming and roaring at me, that was over at Bumping Lake. There's more things that these things did to me too. For instance, they would like paralyze me in one position, but I'd still be awake. But I couldn't move. And if you tried to move, they just forced your head back to the same spot they wanted you to look at while they were doing whatever they were doing. A lot of times they were turning me around. It was for my own good, or they were finding an easier way for me to go, so they were helping me. So I've had encounters in the 3 different spots, hundreds of miles apart. And I've never had a scary encounter. I've never had anything thrown at me. I've never had anything. The only thing I had was at one screaming and roaring at me. And I believe that was because there was something else there. Or that was up there. There's a couple other things that I've never heard anybody talking about when I was working at Boeing on the graveyard shift. I drive on this road called Grandstrom Road in Skagit County, Washington. And there's a 2-mile section on this road coming up a very steep hill coming down. And at the bottom, there's like a 2-mile stretch where these things would cross the road. And they would come down and all the green bushes on the side of the road, they would break the branches like a tree break and point it down towards the water. And then come back in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. They're all gone. So they snapped them down like they're on their way down, and on their way back up in the morning, they would break them off so they didn't have to scream. They would break them off so they didn't have to scream or make noise around people. And some of these bushes would have 4 or 5, but 2-mile stretch. There's probably of these branches that would be broken almost every night. Weird. I have so many things that I could come up with, but it's just, there's so many, it's hard to put on paper. I'm not really good at doing that anyway. If you have any questions for me, you can give me a call or text, whatever you want to do. Thanks for keeping it up. Okay. Then we have another email from him attached in the bottom here. Hey Steve, this is Greg D. Turt. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. Hope all is well with you and your family. This is the 3rd time I've written you. I was looking for answers why I had some of these people would follow me around for a week, then have one scream at me from 40 yards and scare me off the mountain over near Bumping Lake in 1991. So now I have way more answers about me and the Sabe people. So my experiences began back in the early 70s. My parents bought a cabin in the mountains of southwest Skagit County. I had my first experience in 1975. I was told by an old man named Will, while I was at the landfill shooting rats, there was tens of thousands of them. Will was guarding the landfill from illegal dumping. And at night, he lived in a travel trailer up in the mountains watching logging equipment. Anyway, he told me not to go behind the landfill in the swamps. He said it was dangerous back there. So being a teenager, I did what he told me not to do. So I followed the creek about a mile back into the base of a small mountain. Then, as I was moving through the swamp, I jumped 2 creatures. One was very close to the other, about 50 yards away. So when they reached the edge of the swamp, I could still hear them. Then I heard a popping sound. Then everything went dead silent. Never heard a sound. I have had this popping sound happen 4 times. The silence thing I've had happen many times. So I believe these creatures are using this to move away from you. Now about my friend Will. He let me shoot rats for the rest of the summer. The next spring we went up to the lake. The landfill was all covered up and locked up. They moved over about 8 miles away in no man's land. At first we were told it was because there was a grizzly bear. So that was another year come and I went to the new landfill. Punctuation, sorry, we'll get it. So I went to the new landfill to meet a much younger man. He too didn't have a problem with me shooting the rats. I went there a few times. At one time I asked about Will. He told me Will had moved to a different state. Then he proceeded to tell me the story about Will. Apparently he came up to the shack one morning to do his job and there were 3 Sasquatch in the dump eating rats. One stood up and bit a rat in two. We all laughed. Nobody believed him. I really don't know where to begin. I've had so many encounters with these creatures. I've had mind speak used on me many times. Mind speak starts with the pressure in your gut. If they don't like what you're doing, you start to feel like you're being watched, on to where they take control of you and turn you around. My worst case of this happened up in the Cultus Mountains of Skagit County, where I was working graveyard at Boeing. So on Friday morning, I would grab some beer and go up as high as I can to a spot where I'd been there many times. So I get to my spot, park, jump out of my truck, took 4 steps and was turned around, face down to the ground, back in my truck and driving away. Got about 200 yards away. I stopped and said, "What the F just happened?" So back in the 80s, my dad and I built a pile driver and started building docks. So I was up there all the time. A lot of times he didn't need me, so I would hike sometime all day. There's one time I lost 2 hours in the woods. I can't remember anything. I just felt weird, and I knew I was late because the sun was farther than it should have been. I was supposed to be back at 2 and go home. I didn't get there till 4. Excuse me. I believe I've been tagged by these creatures. I moved up there in the early 93 to 99. I moved up there in the early 93 to 99. This is when most of my encounters happen because I was out in the field almost every day, totally unarmed, but I did have a 17-inch Bowie knife. Have you ever heard of these creatures setting up an area for juveniles? They clear out all the predators and protect the deer. All the areas with these beings have ample deer populations, and the road are clear of all predators. I know an area would hike along the ridge of a mountain. The first 3/4 of the hike, there was bears everywhere. You couldn't take a step without seeing a pile of bear crap. And then I got closer to home, the piles disappeared. Just like somebody made a line. This area is right across the street from the cabin. The trail home is where I have had to... Typos, sorry. I'm just reading the way it's typed. Nothing I can do about it. We're at the same coffee table, right? Let me try that again. Made a line. This area is right across the street from the cabin. The trail home is where I have had many feelings of being watched. This one's going to be difficult to believe. Is also the reason I feel I've been tagged. Used to take a daily hike down the street from the cabin. I would take the same trail that was down by the old landfill. So I'd go in. I would hear a fawn in distress. So I'd hike up the embankment, look around, and nothing. Then it was down across the road. Then there's another one. Then up to 5 at one time making these sounds. This happened almost every time I was there. I could bring people there and they would put on a show, sometimes following me around in different areas and doing the call. I have so many things that have happened up there. I will say I have been so close to them they could have grabbed me. Right then I was growled at crossing a bridge from the road. It was about 6 feet down to the creek. The growl came from about my waist, so that put that guy at about 8 to 9 feet, and I'm 6'3". I think they enjoyed scaring me. I've also had 2 follow me down a creek drainage, whistling to each other. The bottom line is these people are not going to hurt you unless you do something to them. I'm living proof. If you want to come and check out the area, I'm only 2 or 3 hours away from you. Thanks for all you do in the subject. Greg D. Turt. I hope... Sorry, I have a funny feeling I'm annihilating your last name. I apologize, man. Sounds like a lot. That's just over the hill. Cultus area. Yeah, that's just like right over the border, right? Cultus Lake on the BC side's lots of sightings. Skagit, lots. That sounds interesting, but there's definitely some patterns in there, right? Well, I wonder if you've seen any people working around that area, coming into that area, looking for something. Odd people, I wonder. Right? And if you've had the mind speak thing happen, and if it's still happening, maybe you could possibly run the questions that you may have heard in this particular video today and run it by them. Help us get those answers. Right? What do we know now? What do I know? I know they're here. I've seen them. I've heard them. I've smelled them. I spoke to people I trust in my life who've seen them. I know what they eat. I know what they look like. I know how big their feet are. I know they are not a gorilla or a monkey. I know they have language. I know they can possibly, I'm definitely convinced they can read our thoughts. What else? I know they're not scared of us, but they're scared of us. What else? There's rumors. Rumor has it that somebody is killing them intentionally. Who is it? Why? That's what I want to know. Right? I know that I can't set a trail camera and capture on a trail camera. I know I cannot dupe them in any way. Intentionally. I know it's a waste of time. Right? There's so much that I know on my ride. But man, oh man. I really, right now, I don't know why, I'm not panicky like, but I've got an anxious feeling and almost like a bit of an anxiousness, or is it excitement? I don't know what it is, but it's got a real burning drive to find out the whys. I just need to know a couple of whys. That's it. And then I'm good. I'm done. I need to know why. Right? Why? I feel like little Chippy this whole past week. Why? Right? Anyway, there we go. Email me in. There's going to be a lot of people are going to email me the stories of the Anunnaki or whoever they call the star people coming and taking them and on and on. But, and I'm going to hear that from people again. And so far, I mean, I've note taken. I've heard those explanations. Note taken. Have I seen or heard from someone who can describe a star person? No. Not at all. You know? You know what I mean? I want to know, and I want to see, and I want to hear a solid frickin' answer for one of those two questions for me. It's driving me bonkers. But that motivates me too. Frustration is actually a motivation for us. Discomfort is a motivation. And it's also almost a rite of passage when it comes to enlightening yourself or getting better in life. You have to feel uncomfortable, right? You need to feel restless and uncomfortable, and that's what drives us forward. And not just get used to that feeling, right? Anyways, I got to bite my lip. I could rattle on a bunch of other things. But another thing I want to make mention though before I go. Oh, how about the Boeing thing? Right? Boeing. A couple whistleblowers come forward. Boeing has them murdered, and all of a sudden you don't hear about Boeing anymore, do you? Amazing how that works, huh? What a bunch of dark sons of bitches there. Side note. But what I was more want to get to is so many of the people that I've been in contact with the past few years who have dove into this subject balls deep for quite some time. And one thing that still bothers me today is the common denominator with a lot of these people and a lot of these names you know. Basically, almost every one of you knows a lot of these names. Is the secrecy. They all have secrets. They're not going to share. I've seen this. I know somebody who gets successful pictures. I know this. I know that. Here's something for you, but don't repeat it. What's up with the frickin' secrets, you guys? Quit it. God. It's almost to the point now when I hear somebody share some shit with me and they say, well, don't say it. This is just for you. Don't say anything. It's just for your eyes. It's a red flag. Almost at this stage of the game for me, somebody contacts me and wants the knowledge secret. It's a red flag for me. Red flag. Don't you think? I've had it up to the nuts with this secret bullshit. Had it up to the nuts. Right? We're all going to be dead. Especially you secret keepers. You're dying. You're going to be dead. What do you think you're going to... When you get to the end of your life, you're going to be laying there in your deathbed. What are you going to... Do you think you're actually going to be celebrating that you took a secret to your deathbed? Oh boy, celebration. Good for you. Said nobody. Right? You're going to be dead. And I'm directly talking to the people with your big secrets. You are dying. You're going to be dead. Do you really seriously think that when you're on your last breath, You're going to be looking back and thinking, oh, wow, this lifetime was so incredible. I'm just so stoked that I kept these secrets from my community. I did it. I didn't tell anybody. Oh my God, make me want to puke. Said nobody, right? Said nobody. Whatever. We'll get there. I don't quit. I don't quit. I'm going to get there. I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out those secrets anyway. And when I do, I'm going to share them with all of my fellow human beings in my community. Right? I'm a real babbler today. Holy shit. Share my story at howtohunt.com. Get it to me. And if you can, get the receipts to me too, okay? Get it to me. Bring the receipts. And let's just get this frickin' mystery solved and get it done so we can move on to the next level of living our lifetime and rocking it out and having a great time. You know what I mean? Okay, enough babbling. Like Ruby's laying down here underneath my feet. She probably thinks I'm insane. Later.